stem holds the plant up straight and tall. It helps make sure the plant doesn't fall. The stem carries water up from the dirt. The stem helps keep the plant alert. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. The leaves are not just there for show. The leaves will work to help the plant grow. They take in the sunlight and make it sweet. The leaves make food for the plant to eat. The colorful flower is so very bright. The bees will stop and rest in their flight. They pollinate the flowers and spread it around. Then the seeds fall to the ground. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. Roots, stems, leaves, flower needs sun and air and a little rain shower. We start with a tiny seed in the ground, buried in the dirt, roots can be found. The roots get water and form a base. The roots will hold the plant in place. The stem holds the plant up straight and tall. It helps make sure the plant doesn't fall. The stem carries water up from the dirt. The stem helps keep the
John, for visitors.
Those are wonderful.
Aren't
They're so full of life. I love it. Can you find out who's author?
Yeah, I'll read it. Hey. Okay, just start. Oh. George is here. Being the service leader is full of pitfalls. Good morning. Please find your seats and prepare for this morning's service. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is Kate Heald, and I am your service leader of the day. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. Our services are streamed on YouTube and Zoom, but no matter how you choose to join us, you are always welcome. We remind you of the QR code in our order of service, which takes you to a link of our current and ongoing events, which are many. If you prefer the events on paper, copies are available in the foyer. For more about UUCC, please visit our website at uucolumbia.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We welcome families with children. Always a hopeful statement. Today, children and youth are invited to bring the toys and books found at the back of the social hall to their seats while they stay in service with their parents. For infants and children to age 5, we do provide childcare, and we'd love to have more childcare volunteers. Paid positions are also available. To be a volunteer, please see Bethany Storlazzi. Today's flowers. Yes. Today's flowers commemorate the 21st wedding anniversary of Bud and Chuck Ashley. They acknowledged their love and commitment to each other on April 1st, 2003. No fooling. Right now we have a pledge drive update from Jenny Verne. She's not here. Is there anyone who can speak for her? Okay. And now please relax and enjoy the prelude. Give me that old time religion. Arranged by Richard McLeod and Kevin McKinney.
Yes, and singing this group doesn't say so in the order of service, but this is a men's choral group called Encore, which means do it again. So, and we're always out for new members.
Give me that old-time religion, give me that old-time religion, give me that old-time religion. It's good enough for me, makes me love everybody, makes me love everybody, makes me love everybody. It's good enough for me.
We will pray with Aphrodite, even though she's rather flighty, and they say she wears no nightie. That's good enough for me.
Really have to say this, right?
There's always one.
We will pray with those Egyptians, build pyramids to put our crypts in, cover subways with inscriptions. That's good enough for me.
Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. It's good enough for me. We will pray with those old druids as they drink fermented fluids, walking naked through the woods. That's good enough for me.
Let me follow dear old Buddha. There is nobody cuter walking next. Oh, excuse me. Plaster, wood, or pewter. That's good enough for me.
Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. It's good enough for me.
I'm agnostic and I'm waiting for a word from God or Satan. I don't know about religion and I'll just wait and see.
As an atheist, I'm saying that there's just no sense in praying, 'cause theology's just braying. That's good enough for me.
Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. It's good enough for me.
Thank you, Encore, and that certainly addressed my question of why we were starting out with old-time religion. If anyone wasn't sure they were in a Unitarian fellowship, now you know. Okay, so as we settle into the service, can you please rise in body or spirit and join me in the congregational covenant in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. We side with love, welcoming and embracing all people. Our board members and committee chairs welcome your questions and comments. Board members may be recognized by their green name tags. Now we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are here today. Abigail, you are my mic person today. So visitors, please wait for the microphone, and if you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from. If you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline. I'm so happy to be here. I love that old time religion. This is Jacqueline, y'all. She said that. Thank you.
Welcome, Jacqueline.
Good morning, everyone. This is Stephen's sister, Michelle, and nephew, Ryan, and they both just whispered to me, please don't make me say anything. So you can talk to them later. We're so glad that they're here, and they were very confused by the song as well until it got going. It was perfect.
Welcome, everyone. Is there anyone else? Yes, we have one more over here.
Get my steps in. Good morning. My name's Taylor. I'm from Columbia. I brought with me my mom, Sandy, and my partner, Hannah. We're very, very happy to be here.
Welcome. Anyone else? To know more about UUCC, just fill out a visitor card found in the back of the chair in front of you. Place it in the collection plate, and we will email you about our upcoming events. We won't do anything else. Today's chalice lighter is Marnie. Spirit of light and life, come unto us.
I invite you to join in singing our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Now, we're going to have an encore. Our men come up. We're still left over from the last song we sang and the response we got from it, so thank you for that. But we're going to lead this because it is a round, it's a canon, and when the time comes, I'll tell you when to sing. And we'll divide you and we'll do this in canons. So, by the way, I want to tell you, the song that we sang this morning, the Give Me the Old Time Religion, the lyrics come from a number of different places. Pete Seeger, for example, who was of Unitarian mind, he wrote a lot of those lyrics, and we had a lot of others contributed also. So anyhow, on this next piece, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, which means all of the people that we addressed in the song this morning, and all the rest of you too. So this is Come Home, Come, this is Around. So, Anna, you want to play it through first, and then we'll sing it through once. Well, go ahead and stand up now. Okay, now hang on a minute. And what we're going to do this in just 2 rounds. If you see in your hymnal 188, it actually shows divided into 4, but I think we can let's do it in 2. And I'm gonna kind of semi-arbitrary just say right down the middle here. And we will start singing with this side over here. And you kind of watch me. I'll wave at you and lead you. And then when this number 2 comes in, that's when Morgan will lead you. So watch Morgan. So, are we ready? All right, Anna, give us a pitch, please.
Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, lover of healing. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, whoever you are.
glorious music. Thank you all very much. You may be seated.
Thank you, Richard. If Richard ever texts you and says, hey, I have a verse that you can sing this morning, just know you might get stuck doing that. Our topic today is recovering from religious trauma. And so much around trauma has been a part of our understanding of our psychological healing and the need for recovering in our culture. And to actually focus in on religious trauma is a topic that hasn't gotten as much attention. And so look forward to sharing that today. And we'll use a lot of words that really focus on recovering from trauma in general, particularly complex PTSD. And I know that several folks today are in different places watching the eclipse that's coming. And then, of course, there's a large number of our congregation that has to prepare for, is there a basketball game this afternoon? And so, I don't know, it's not till like 4, but you know, you have to start praying, or it's at 3, sorry, I knew Bob would know. So, but you have to start praying at 10, I think, to try to avoid the trauma of losing. So, hopefully that won't happen. I'm just kidding. Go Cox. We are rooting for them. All right. So this is a wonderful poem from a writer that writes a lot about healing from trauma, and it's just simply entitled, his name is Jeff Foster, and it's simply entitled, Yes, I am broken, but I am whole. And he writes, you do not heal from trauma. You simply come to know yourself as life itself. And you turn towards the wounded place and you flush it with attention, which is love. And maybe the wound will always be with you. Maybe you will always walk with the hurt, but now you hold it. It doesn't hold you. You are the container, not the contained. It doesn't control you any longer, the wound, because it is drenched in awareness now. It's drenched in you, loved by you, even celebrated by you. You do not heal from trauma. You find healing in the trauma. You find yourself at trauma's sacred core, the one who is always present, the one who can bereave in the most intense feeling states and survive, the indestructible one, the infinite one, the powerful one, you. The trauma itself becomes a portal to the absolute, to the safety of yourself. And you will cry out in joy, and you will cry out in sadness, and you will cry out in relief, and you will cry out in revelation. Yes, I am broken, but I am whole. This time I invite our children to come down for the story for all ages, and today is one of those stories that applies to the adults as well, so hopefully you all listen in. It's a book that we're going to read called All We Need Is Love and A Really Soft Pillow. Good morning. How are you today? Good morning. All right, I'm going to sit down so you can see the pages really well. We're going to read a book today called All You Need Is Love and a Really Soft Pillow. That's right. Very two important things. All you need is love and a really soft pillow. That's right. So, it's a character named Poppy. It says, Poppy, do you need anything? Little one, I've got you, and we've got love, and love is all we need. Yay. Yes, love and a really soft pillow. That's right. You got it. Well, yes, little one, love and a really soft pillow, that is all we need. And Poppy, A roof would be very useful to keep the rain and sun off our heads. That's right? Yes, little one, a roof, a pillow, and love, but that's all we need. Oh, and 4 walls to keep the bugs out. Walls, yes, walls. 4 walls and a roof, a pillow, and love. How sweet and simple life can be. This is all we need.
They need a door.
You think they need a door? Let's see. How are they going to get in if they don't have a door? Well, he says, Poppy, we need water. True, little one, water is essential, like love. Water, 4 walls, and a door, a roof, and a really soft pillow, or maybe 2 pillows. That's all we need.
Yes, they need 2 pillows.
That's right. How sweet and simple life can be. I was thinking, Poppy, that chocolate would be very nice, too.
It would be so yummy.
Yep, chocolate, yes. Everybody say chocolate. Chocolate, yes. Chocolate would be a great way to celebrate our sweet and simple life. Chocolate, water, 4 walls, a roof, 2 really soft pillows, and love. Perfectly simple. Wonder what else we might need. Poppy, it occurred to me that we need a pot to cook in and a tub to bathe in, and you don't want to get those 2 things mixed up. Brilliant, little one. We have everything we need. A bathtub, a cooking pot, chocolate, water, 4 walls, and a roof, and 2 really soft pillows. And what's the last thing?
A door.
I forgot about the door and love. Door and a love. That's all we need. Well, Poppy, do you know what would make life even more perfect? A vegetable garden and a fruit tree. Well, of course. What goes better with chocolate than vegetables? I thought you were going to say books, little one. Books, yes, we'll need books too. Veggies, fruit, books, all of them essential. Now we've got all that we need. Books, a fruit tree, a vegetable garden, a bathtub, a cooking pot, chocolate, water, 4 walls, and a door. A roof, 2 really soft pillows, and at last but not least, love. Wow, they got it all. Uh-oh. Poppy, we do need just one more thing. A toilet. Very practical, very smart and clever, little one. So now we got it. A toilet that has a door. Some books, a fruit tree, a vegetable garden, a bathtub, a cooking pot, chocolate, water, 4 walls, a roof, 2 really soft pillows, and of course, a door. A door. And love. That's right. And of course, love. Poppy, we need to call Bill because our roof has a leak. Bill, where are you? Oh no, a storm is blowing in, little one. Hang on to me tightly. Oh no, look at the vegetables. They're getting messed up. The fruit tree, the roof's getting messed up. Oh no, all this cool stuff. The stormy wind took everything. The toilet and the books and the fruit and the door and the vegetable and the bathtub and the cooking pot and the chocolate and the water and the roof and the 4 walls, and even took the 2 really soft pillows. Man, storm. Everything went flying except for Poppy and little one, who held on to the tree whose roots were very deep. That's good. The wind and the rain stopped, and wet and weary, Poppy and little one, well, they rested. They rested. We lost everything, Poppy. But you know what, little one? We have each other. We have love. And love is all we need. Yes, Poppy. And a really soft pillow. That's right.
But they don't have a pillow. Poppy has a pillow.
Each day is a new day to count our blessings and savor the journey with those that we love. They do. They have a pillow, love, and a pillow. And what I really like about this book is that we have a lot of things that we need every day. But no matter what happens in our life, as long as we have love and a really soft pillow and a door, then we're just fine. And you know what? Take a second and look out there. And I want you see all these beautiful faces? Most of them beautiful? All of them are beautiful. Look around. No matter what happens to you in your life, you are surrounded by people who love you. Thank you for coming down. At this time, we create a moment in our service for our candles of community, opportunities to share your joys, your concerns that you're holding, that you would like to share with the community so that we can hold them together. We have candles in our foyer, and you can light a candle and share your joy or concern with this congregation. So I invite you, if you have a candle this morning, to get ready to come down and briefly share your joy or concern. I want to lead us off with a candle of gratitude and joy, of just simply thanking everybody for making turning 50 tolerable. It was such a joy, especially to Linda and the crew that did such a great job organizing everything, everybody who was able to come or share their wishes if they weren't able to come. Thank you so much. It is an honor to feel celebrated.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kathy Paget. It's been a long time since I've been up here doing this, many, many years. And I'm a little bit nervous, but I want to share a personal joy. I felt inspired on this very sunny Sunday, April Sunday, to tell you all about a sunny Sunday in April of 1986, when I, with help from family and friends, planted a tree outside on the grounds in memory of my father. And he was a very good man. And with the help of the Building and Grounds Committee, thank you, recently with Liz Turner and Bill Dolly, we created a plaque. And it's right outside in front of the tree. And I have much gratitude to the Building and Grounds Committee for helping me do that, because it's been many years since I've been here. It's a sugar maple tree. It is bright orange in the fall, and it is a beautiful, beautiful tree in the summertime. It's starting to grow now. It's starting to bud its leaves, and it's leaning against the evergreen tree next to it. You could say it's entangled, but I like to say it's communing with that tree, because there's a virtual communion of trees out there creating a circle. And thank you, Morgan McLaughlin, from years ago for preserving that tree, even though there was no plaque in front of it. On the plaque, I wrote, Dr. Raymond Walter Deeney. Deeney is my maiden name, and I wrote, consummate professional, knowledge seeker, devoted father, husband, and singing grandfather. And I've been talking with Reverend Stephen to create a Sunday when, after service, we can gather with some poetry and some stories so I can tell you why those words mean so much to me. Thank you for sharing my joy. This is a candle of gratitude and joy and memories.
Good morning. I'm Janice. I have a candle of gratitude and of celebration, and I might get a little emotional, so I wrote it down. I know one of the goals for UUCC with this current board is to make sure that we show our gratitude and our appreciation. And I am truly grateful for this community. And I do have a few particular individuals as well. The caring committee has been very kind and gracious. Linda and Richard, from very beginning when my husband had passed years ago, stepped up and kind of went in there. Rebecca. JP and Jane, safe travels to Montana when you look back, thank you. But particularly to Chuck and Bud Ashley. Happy anniversary. Last June, my world fell apart. And they picked me up. And they gave my son and I a place to be. And to use their words, they served as a stepping stone for me to be able to get back up again. And as of Friday, officially, Miles and I got all of our stuff from the remainder of items that were from Chuck and Bud. And I'm officially moved in with my partner, Jeff. And on the road to getting back up on my feet again, thanks to the kindness of this community. So I thank you for that. And the celebration is the moving on and the new steps and new places. Still working on the disability and getting supplemental income, but baby steps at a time. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As I was walking into this house today, I just kept getting the unctioning that, that I should light a candle. And I'm sitting there, and pastor's reading, I always refer to Reverend as pastors, but anyway, he was reading about love. And it dawned on me, this is what, April 7th? And I wanted, in gratitude and love, to remember Martin Luther King and his family, because he was all about love, and they were all about sharing love for the world. So I just wanted to say Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. The last candle that we light represents those silent joys, silent concerns that we're holding. I invite you to take just a few deep breaths and connect to all that you've heard this morning. As we prepare for our offering this morning, a reminder that our Share the Plate recipient as we move into the month of April is Mercy, the Mental Illness Recovery Center, and it's my pleasure to invite Caroline Kearns to come and share a little bit about the great work of Mercy.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Caroline Kearns. I am a licensed independent social worker at Mercy, which stands for the Mental Illness Recovery Center. Some of you may be familiar with our work. If not, then I'm here to give you kind of a brief overview. But first, I want to thank y'all, every single one of you. What I have learned so far from this congregation is that a lot of the things that you find to be, your core beliefs and things, and the message of love that we've heard a lot about today, and gratitude, That's exactly what Mercy is about in trying to help the individuals in our community who have mental illness, sometimes substance use, homelessness as well. And I just want to thank y'all for your generosity today. I've been a social worker at Mercy for about a year and a half now. Before that, I worked at the 2 different hospitals in Columbia doing social work and figuring out ways to get people out of the hospital quickly, but also safely. And what I learned from that experience, and one of the things that kind of led me to get out into the community, is that that's a little bit of a Band-Aid going on a situation. When you're in the hospital, it's because of a crisis. It's because something has happened. Nobody plans to go to the hospital unless you're having a baby, right? And even then, you might not make it sometimes. But you're in the hospital, it's crisis. We try to put together as many resources as we can to get you back out that door. But like I said, that's a Band-Aid. And what we do at Mercy is we meet people where they are. Our outreach team goes and sees individuals, whether that's at a local park, at a shelter, at different, corners of our streets, cemeteries, wherever they may be laying their head down. And they see where we can best help them. Is that Mercy, or is that another referral to another agency in our area that can also provide services that we can't help with? If an individual is appropriate to come into Mercy's services, they definitely have a diagnosis of a severe and persistent mental illness. Those kind of break down into schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar, and major depression. We provide person-centered, trauma-focused. We heard, we'll learn more about that today, so that's a great plug. But we provide what those individuals may need. Is that housing? Is that case management? Is that medication management? Is that helping them kind of navigate the system of Social Security, which is incredibly difficult? Working with our benefits team, with our supportive housing team, we always try to meet individuals at where their goals are. My goals are not the same as y'all's goals, and y'all's goals are not the same as everybody else's. And so we form that connection, that personal relationship with individuals in our community to figure out how we can help them meet and have a satisfying quality of life. We do have psychiatrists. We have 2 psychiatrists and a nurse practitioner that provide that psychiatric care. Myself and several other social workers and licensed professional counselors provide the case management piece. Is that getting your ID? Is that learning to read? What is it in your life is going on that we can help you work through and help you see that there is another day ahead. And so I just, again, want to thank y'all so much for the opportunity. If you don't know about Mercy and you want to know more, I know I just have a couple minutes, but I will be here after the service as well. So if you have specific questions, if you or somebody that you know might benefit from being a client of Mercy, or you just need more resources about what's out in the community, please just come up and talk to me. I'll be happy to share information. Thank y'all again.
Okay.
Yes.
You can also introduce
Oh, yes, and I'm so sorry. So Taylor is also here with me. She is with our marketing department, or not department, our hub. Yeah, so definitely Taylor will be here as well. We do have an event coming up. It's called 52 Windows, where we have several artists in the area that are donating not only their time, but also some of their pieces to help benefit Mercy. So definitely encourage y'all to come out and celebrate that with us too. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline and Taylor, for being here today. We're honored to be a partner with you and your good work. This time I invite our ushers to come and receive our offering.
Our offertory musical selection is You Are So Beautiful by Billy Preston and Bruce Fisher, arranged by Brent Edstrom, and probably familiar with the famous voice of Joe Cocker. I'd like to read the lyrics before I play the piano arrangement and invite you to think of this song today in relationship to your connection with those around you, to your loved ones, and to those who love you. I also invite you, if you feel moved, to think of these words as your connection to whatever you identify with as the spirit of life, as God, as a creator, as in expansive connectedness, speaking to you and your beauty, and also how we can speak to that which we may individually feel is God and speak these words as well. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything I hoped for. You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to me.
Thank you, Anna. Receive our offering today, symbol of our commitment to our good work. This is your first time here at the UUCC. You might be wondering what makes up this group of people here that have gathered in this place. And I really think we pretty much fall into three different categories here, believe it or not. We can narrow it down to three. So there are the people who have been lifelong UUs of some sort. From the time they were born, they've been raised in a Unitarian Universalist church. Do we have anybody like that here? All All right, we see a very small few. I see what I meant. And hopefully we have a group down here that are experiencing that going forward. We also have a group of people that have never been a part of any kind of religious community of any kind. And so they are finding religious community for the first time. And you don't have to raise your hand, but you know who you are out there, a few of you. And I would say the majority of our congregation are folks who have come from some other religious tradition of some kind and found this place. And that means that everyone who is here has had this beautiful path of healthy differentiation from their religious community that they grew up in, and just simply and pleasantly outgrew that and moved into the UUCC. I wish that were true. But yet we have our topic today, which is the truth that many of the religious experiences have been painful for so many and have been inflicted by a religious community. And we know that we have those experiences and we have levels of those experiences, whether they feel like very minor experiences of pain or very traumatic, painful experiences. All of it really falls under the category of religious trauma if you've had those experiences. And it begins with finding your way here and maybe hearing about the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Columbia on Hayward Street. And you say, okay, well, I've heard about it. Somebody tells you about it and I want to give it a try. So you start thinking about it. And that's the process. You just start thinking about it. And this can last for years. Like, I meet people all the time that say, I've been thinking about coming here since 2012. Oh, okay, well, you took your time. And then you've decided you want to really give it a try. And so you get up on a Sunday morning and you get dressed and you start making your way here and you just circle. You turn down Hayward, Maple, you go up, you come back down Woodrow, and you just circle. And you know what? We see you. You're out there. Just watch. You see cars go by really slowly. That are folks that are just thinking about coming. But they get here and they go, oh, that looks like a real church. I don't know if I want to do that or not. And then you have the folks who come and they park. And they've done the work to find a parking place here. And they just sit. And they look at that church and they start reliving what it's like to be in a religious community. And maybe they open their door and they shut it. They open it again and shut it. And then they think, I cannot go in this place that has been so painful for me, a church experience. I know what that's like. I've had those Sundays where I sit out there and think to myself, can I go in today? And then I remember, I'm the minister, I have to. And so I open the door and come in. And then finally, you decide to give it a try and you come in and risk the vulnerability of walking in to a religious community, especially if you come from painful experiences in religious communities. And you notice that we have double doors everywhere that you walk in, which gives you plenty of room to bring all the religious baggage that you carry into this place. And on a serious note, what we are talking about describing for so many is a new term, a relatively new term, entitled religious trauma, where we are looking at trauma care, but very specifically focused on trauma that is inflicted by a religious community. And of course, trauma care in its history really began with caring for soldiers who returned from the horrors of battlefield, called different things throughout the year, and ultimately landing with the term of post-traumatic stress syndrome. And then somewhere toward the end of the 20th century, they started recognizing complex trauma, complex PTSD that was developing for people who've experienced painful things, not necessarily involved in the wars of being in the military. Religious trauma was identified and named by Dr. Marlene Weidel, and she describes the religious trauma occurs when a person's religious experience is stressful, degrading, dangerous, abusive, or damaging. So let's hear that again. When your religious experience is stressful, degrading, dangerous, abusive, or damaging. And of course, our mind goes to religious trauma that is inflicted by abuse from a religious leader, and certainly that is a part of it, but it is not limited to that kind of direct abuse. It could be directly related to an abuse by a religious leader, but it also could be indirectly related by a person's identity or life events, who they are, being filtered through some kind of religious harmful lens. How you identify yourself or something about your personhood, your gender, your sexuality, your race, how you are identified is deemed unacceptable. And then by the religious community, something that needs to be fixed in you so that you can then be accepted by whoever it is doing the accepting. It can also be connected to leaving a religious tradition and experiencing then the shaming and the ostracizing that can come from you trying to differentiate and being scolded and undermined for doing that. Religious trauma usually comes from an authoritarian religion that are typically patriarchal, and they can be demeaning and demoralizing to your sense of self. One of the common things of religious communities that create religious trauma is that they control your life, every aspect of your life in some way or the other. Maybe not feeling like they are controlling every move, but somehow they are always a part of who you are and in some ways locking you up. I grew up in one of those religious traditions that was authoritarian, that reminded me every week that there was something wrong with me, that I was going to hell, that I was not acceptable, or that someone in my family is not acceptable or shamed for some reason, whatever. I'm a child that would lie in bed at night and struggle to fall asleep because I was afraid either I was going to be dragged to hell, or there was a very popular song when I was a kid that said just simply, "You've been left behind." And I was afraid that mom and dad were going to be taken and I was going to be left in the room with my house, left with my sisters. I mean, look at her. Who wants to be left with sisters? I'm kidding. I think it's interesting for my sister to be here today because she can identify with that kind of feeling of lying and wondering. I can remember one night and multiple nights, just almost every night, waking up, hearing a noise, running down the hallway, seeing if mom and dad were there, which, you know, if you were as a little kid sneaking to your mom's room in the middle of the night, there's other trauma that might get inflicted on you too as a kid, just so you know. But I can remember just the anxiety of running down the hallway thinking, I heard a noise, they've gone, I'm left behind, and now I'm doomed, and the relief of seeing them there. I can remember even one time hearing a noise, waking up, running down the hall, and for some reason they were in the living room and they weren't there, and melting down in tears and falling on my parents' bathroom floor crying. That is trauma. I don't know what to call it as a kid growing up, but it's trauma. It's trauma. And there's I see so many heads shaking out there that can identify with some kind of experience on that level. And sometimes it's that kind of controlling event in your life where you feel like something is wrong with me. I cannot be accepted for who I am, and therefore I must somehow get myself right. And then the goalpost is constantly moved of how you get yourself right. And sometimes it's very direct events. And another event for me was that I've shared in this congregation before. You all know my love of mythology and ended up getting a degree in mythology and use it often here, much to the chagrin of those who don't want to hear all those stories every time. But I remember coming home in 7th grade and getting a book from the book fair that was just simply called The Greek Gods. And I got that book and I read it, and it was the first time I remember reading something that spoke to me on the deepest level of my being. and I treasured it. I read it over and over again until it was found by our religious leader who burned it. And then said it wouldn't burn because it was full of the devil. And I remember going back and buying a book, again, the same book from the book fair, which I still have on my shelf in my office, and hiding it between the mattress and the box spring. And for me, I use that as a story here because it is a very important mark for me of differentiation, where I started realizing I don't fit in this community anymore. And if you were here last night for the birthday party, as I shared, by the time I got to a Baptist seminary, I realized I really don't fit in church anymore whatsoever. Maybe you have similar stories, and maybe you have stories that are not quite as intense, but still remind you of that kind of pain. Religious trauma is real. One of the things that we really struggle with as we deal with religious trauma is not taking it seriously. We see traumatic events that are going on in our culture, and we think, well, the trauma that I experienced in my childhood can't really add up to that. Or we start trying to justify it and say, well, 75-80% of my religious experience growing up was good, so I can't really focus on the traumatic experiences. And I just invite you this morning to let it be what it is. Trauma experts would say, don't deny the trauma that you've experienced. That's where you have to start. You have to acknowledge, whether it feels huge or small to you, those trauma experiences. One of my favorite writers that writes about trauma is Judith Herman in her book, Trauma and Recovery. And working with Judith Herman and Marlene Weidel, they identified some of the traumas that actually are very unique, very much repeated in religious communities. So I just wanted to share a few of those and see if they resonate. One of those would be captivity, being a traumatic experience. In a prison, obviously captivity is being in a prison or under the control of a perpetrator, and how that translates to being in a religious community where a person, an organization, or even an idea of God becomes this dominant force that shapes your identity. And maybe the bars and the cages are not actual bars, but are metaphorical ones. But those are those who live in religious communities and live in a place of captivity. Herman also identifies psychological domination, where we disempower and disconnect individuals from themselves and their identity, whether we use sacred text literalism, fear or shame, or some kind of subtle abuse of power to keep them disconnected from who they are as individuals, convincing them that who they are as individuals, there's something flawed about that. And then the third place that she identifies trauma that repeats over and over again is that erosion of personality, where, in Herman's words, people subjected to prolonged, repeated trauma develop an insidious, progressive form of post-traumatic stress and disorder that invades and erodes their personality. While a victim of chronic trauma may feel after the event that she is not herself, the victim of chronic trauma may feel herself being changed irrevocably, or she may lose the sense that she has any self at all. Authoritarian religious groups that are characterized by dogma and rules and a sense of safety and security and acceptance only if you do what you're told are those images of captivity. Psychological domination with the fear of hell or abandonment, fear of displeasing God, thought control, the authority of sacred text, or limiting information to individuals, or the loss of self with personality erosion and shattered assumptions about ourselves that we have as children, and the anxiety, fear, depression, and decision making. I don't know, it may have felt like a very minor thing for these children this morning to stand up and look at your faces and know no matter what and who they are loved by this community. Don't take that for granted. Not every child can stand up in a community like that and experience it. The good news is there is a path to healing. And for that path to healing, people seem to go through different phases, as Waddell identifies 5 phases that they go through in typical sequences to deeper and more in touch places of healing in all of the aspects of their life. Obviously, separation is involved. Many of us have been through that. The confusion that follows the separation when your frame for your worldview has been built this way and you separate from it, it can be confusing. And oftentimes we go back to it because we're so confused or we're so anxious. People are drawn to fundamentalist communities to begin with because all the answers are there and you don't have to think. They tell you what to believe and think. We move to avoidance, which we described earlier. You see that car that just went by? That's a future UUCC member out there. Wave to them. Say, we'll see you in 2023, 28, somewhere along in there. And then we move into our feelings, and that's when we can start working on it, when we actually allow the feelings of the trauma to be acknowledged and recognize that there's pain, there's grief in separating from your religious community, and all of the things that were important in the possible places that were good feel like they are gone as well. And then, of course, the rebuilding stage, where you get to actually build the religion that fits you and brings wholeness to your life. There's so many lost relationships when you leave a community, and sometimes the relationships are family. And so there's pain and there's anger that requires healing and transformation. We can't allow ourselves to stay in the place of hurt because we know that hurt people hurt people. And as Richard Rohr says, if we do not transform our pain, then we transmit it. And so we hold that pain and the anger and sometimes can't redeem the good. And with that, I say, welcome to the UUCC Trauma Center. The UUCC is a place of healing here. We are a place that overwhelms people with love and acceptance, and we bless and nurture the individual search for truth and meaning. We are a place of healing that encourages and promotes a trust of yourself. This can also be an anxious place because what attracts people to fundamentalism, as we said, with the authority and certainty, we really don't provide that here. If people ask me, what do you believe about this, Stephen? I say, well, what do you believe about it? And it's not just a question to avoid the question. It is an invitation to, before I give you an answer about what I believe, I want to hear what comes from the core of your being and know that you can trust that. What is coming out of you is trustworthy. We're a place here that embraces mystery and understands that certainty has its limits. We understand the danger of authoritarianism, not because we're rebels, there's a few of us that would identify that way, and that we don't want to be told what to do or believe. It's not entirely because of that. But we hold the treasure of this free and liberal religion because we know the imminent damage that can be caused by an authoritarian body, enforcing accountability and deciding who are the sheeps and who are the goats, and imposing labels on each of us, branding us with a hot iron. But you know what? As great as this place is, we're not immune here to also inflicting religious trauma. Just our song this morning is a good example of that, right? The old-time religion. We are glad to give you a healthy dose of religious trauma experience that you can process later. I told Richard I was going to say that, and he was all right with it. Well, he didn't say if you were all right with it or not. But we can, as a community, inflict religious trauma as well. We're not immune to it. And so having that power as a community and having the potential to be a trauma center and a place of healing, we have to constantly be growing and becoming better versions of ourselves as a community. As Howard Thurman says, we always have to look well to the growing edges. We are not great because we are a religious community committed to being a haven of healing and growth and justice, a place to think and achieve deeper levels of understanding and knowledge and spirituality, a place to feel loved and be connected. We are great because we are committed to constantly becoming that place. So I invite you this morning, if you've experienced religious trauma or any of this sounds familiar to you, don't downplay it. Take it seriously. It may still be active and working in your life in some way. Reach out to me or other caregivers in this place, in this trauma center, and find the healing that you need. As Anna sang one of my favorite songs yesterday, I will share the words, "Know then that you are not alone. We will make this place your home."
Our closing hymn is in the Teal hymnal. It's number 1053, How Could Anyone? I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able to join in singing. I'm going to sing it once through for you to hear and then invite you to join me. We're going to repeat it more than once, and I'll also be inviting you to direct the message of this song to different people and places around you. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. And please join. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? Deeply you're connected to my soul. And as we split in two for the round in our first hymn, I invite you to turn towards that center line. If you can turn your bodies and sing towards the middle of the room, if you can look across and sing this song to one another. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is the miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. And if you could turn to the front and holding him in your love, sing to our Reverend Stephen. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. And one final time, holding yourself in love, if you could sing this to you. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you
invite you to remain standing for the closing words. We're not just going to use the words, but the beauty of spring around us this morning with the poem of Maya Spector, and it's simply called Jailbreak. It's time to break out, jailbreak time, time to punch our way out of the dark winter prison. Lilacs are doing it in sudden explosions of soft purple, and the jasmine vines and ranunculus too. There's no jailer powerful enough to hold spring contained. Let that be a lesson. Stop holding back your blossoming. Quit shutting your eyes and gritting your teeth and curling your fingers into fists and hunching your shoulders. Lose your determination to remain unchanged. All the forces of nature want you to open. The gentle nudge carries behind it the force of a flash flood. Why make a cell your home when the door is unlocked and the garden is waiting for you?
Please join in singing our congregational benediction.
I'd like to thank everyone who is here for our service today. All those who are visiting with us as guests, we invite you to stick around. Give us a chance to get to know you as we get to, you get to know us as well in this community. We have a social hour immediately following. Do remind you if you're, the children are back there. So I'm supposed to say, don't forget to go get your children. But as a parent, I hope that we would never do that, right? But they're all back there in the nursery ready and waiting. Unfortunately, our playground is not accessible due to a tree falling, but we're working on getting that squared away. And also remember that Caroline and Taylor are here to share any information that you like about Mercy. Thank you all for being here today.